topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hey, welcome to the Camping Show. I'm CW Getz. It's Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. We are in the middle of tropical storm season here in Chicago. I don't know what the hell's going on. We've had a storm like every day. And I mean, when I say storm, I mean, you think, well, rainstorm, what's the big deal? We've had rain, we've had hail. Actually, not far from here, it was 90-mile-an-hour winds today. We get 70 plus here this morning. We had the same thing last night, the night before. It's like, wow, what's going on? So anyway, I hope the weather is better wherever you guys are at, man. Seriously. Tonight's episode is sponsored by Campground Views, making camping easier, and by Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water. We've got a great show here for you this evening. Listeners can call to be placed on the air with a question or comment at 815-663-7782. Again, that's 815-663-7782. And viewers can message questions and comments to us here on tonight's broadcast. Tonight's episode is Meet Camper Christina with my special guest, Christina Sherman. 51-year-old Canadian wilderness adventurer, public speaker, and social media influencer, Christina Sherman began blogging in 2015 after an attempt to secure a position as a woods explorer. Christina realized she could pursue her goals by publishing videos of personal canoe trips on her YouTube channel. Camper Christina, as she's known worldwide, currently has over 400 published videos on her YouTube channel and has also recently published an online course demonstrating essential skills for backcountry camping. The course, Backcountry Camping for Beginners, is a compilation of tips and tricks accumulated from her 20 years experience and took 5 months to produce. Backcountry Camping for Beginners is a prime example of Christina's passion for the outdoors and noteworthy contribution to the outdoor community. Camper Christina has appeared at a number of popular events, including Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show, the Ontario Backcountry Canoe Symposium, the Ontario Winter Camping Symposium, the Quiet Adventure Symposium, Virtual Canoecopia, and Women on the Water, where she teaches kayaking. And with that, welcome to the show, Christina.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, you know what? Our weather sucks, so other than that, I'm doing just fine. But I'll tell you what, it's been pretty freaky. I tell you, I have this table. It's like a wrought iron table with an umbrella sticking on the top. And I get my umbrella got wiped out a few years ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I decided, hey, you know what? I'll replace that. It's been long enough or whatever. So I just bought this thing, and it's $500 and some dollars, man. It's not a cheap ass umbrella. And I put the thing up, and within a week we get these tornadic storms and hurricanes, and I'm like, and that thing last night skated about 20 some feet across my concrete patio.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, I'm like, you know something? I just should never have bought that thing. That's what happens, right?
Yeah. I had the same thing happen to a screen tent last year, so I get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. But as fate would have it, as they say. Well, Christina, first of all, let's just tell me about your outdoor adventuring background. How'd you get started in all this, anyhow?
Well, I started kind of late. When I was a little kid, my parents used to take us up north, as we call it here. And I think you guys in the States have a similar up north kind of a saying as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 hours north of where I was living near Niagara Falls. And we used to go to a cottage, and I loved it up there. I loved the smell of the trees and being in the water and all of that. And then we kind of stopped going. When I turned 9, my dad wanted to go to Florida, and we went there for a couple of years and we never went back. And I didn't really start going backcountry camping until I was 32 years old. It was my
wow.
first backcountry trip in 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you do in Florida when you were there? 'Cause I would have loved that.
I played on the
I'm a beach person.
beach.
I like beaches.
Yeah, I went swimming, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Suntan.
Did you surf? Did you ever surf?
No. I was only 9 and 11. We went there. We went to Disney World. I got to meet Pooh,
Oh, there you go.
So that was good. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't start backcountry camping till you're 32, right?
Yeah, I did my first trip when I was 32, and I researched like crazy. I took all these books out from the library and studied about how many calories I needed to do so many portages, and
Wow.
I really got into it. I spent 6 months researching on how to store my food and everything that I needed to do, so I could have a good trip.
Now, did you at some point start like dehydrating things and all that, making your own food,
Yeah.
preparing your own? Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I borrowed a dehydrator from a lady at work and I dehydrated all my food. I actually contacted a company, an astronaut company or something, where I got some dehydrated eggs because this freeze dried food and stuff that we have now, there wasn't really that much out there. So you had to kind of make your own.
Yeah. I mean, when you say dehydrated eggs, you're talking about the kind that the what do they call them? Egg crystals or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the powdered eggs. So they said, oh, we only sell them by I can't remember. It was like a massive bag. I think I still have it in the basement.
Yeah, like army stuff.
Forever.
Right?
Yeah, army stuff.
You're gonna use that in 5 years. It'll take you to it'll be expired by the time you use it. I know.
Yeah.
So when did you start actually solo tripping then?
In 2015. So when I turned 32, I went backcountry camping. I did a bunch of trips. I had a boyfriend who really loved to do it. And we were together for a couple of years. We went on a bunch of trips and I really, really loved it. And then we broke up and then I didn't have anybody to go with. And so I did other things. I played beach twos volleyball for about 10 or 15 years, something like that. I love that.
Yeah.
But then I kind of had some problems with my knees and I tore my meniscus. I tore some ligaments and they said, well, you can play, but you can't play hard. And beach twos volleyball, you kind of have to play hard. And I like playing hard. So I wanted to go back to camping, but I didn't have anybody to go with still. And I decided that I wasn't going to let that stop me. I was going to start going by myself. And so I worked my way up. I started hiking alone and doing day trips alone. And then one day I finally went to the Massasauga Provincial Park, which is finally 20 minutes from my house now. It wasn't at the time. It was a 4-hour drive, but I spent most of the night awake. I brought a bunch of glow sticks. I could have probably started a rave out there. I had so many. I called my mommy. I was scared. There was a big storm, so it was like pitch black out. There wasn't even any stars or moon or anything, but I made it through the night. Yeah. And I loved the daytime part and all of the rest of it. And so I just kept going and doing more and more trips. And eventually I got comfortable and I got used to it. And, the week before last week, I did a week-long solo in Temagami out in the remote wilderness. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you in the meniscus club. You mentioned that. I'm part of that club. Yeah, it's no fun. Used to be a huge hiker, but now not so much. I got carried up the last hill, and that was it was bad. It was a baseball injury, much the same as yours, a sports injury. And the thing that made me the most mad was I was safe at second base. So anyway.
At least you got that.
Yeah. No, I was safe. They called me out. I was safe though. But yeah,
they called you out.
Yeah, they called me out. I was like, at least give me the base. No, they couldn't.
Oh, jeez.
Let me ask you this: would you break up with a boyfriend? And Brandy Hartman, love the shirt. I love her shirt too.
He broke up with me actually, but whatever.
You guys broke up. Whatever, whoever did. But do you have to go through your things and sort of adjust now? Hey, everything now has got to be for a solo trip instead of a tandem trip, so to speak. I mean, that kind of had to be a lot of work, right?
Well, I bought all the gear because I was the one that came up with the idea. So I now have 2 backpacking packs that I alternate between. I'm still using the same backpacking pack.
Okay.
I've, changed my gear up, over the years, but when I first started, I just used whatever I had. And,
Yeah. We get like a
can-
different canoe. I mean, you have a solo canoe as opposed to a tandem and things like that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, when I first started, I was using a kayak.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
trained in kayaking. I was trained in kayaking more. I have my level 1 and my level 2 sea kayaking and my basic instructor. And I had a kayak. I mean, back, 20 years ago, solo canoeing wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
So I started learning how to kayak. I took a course way back when. And then I was doing kayaking trips. My first trip was a kayak trip, and the first few were kayak trips. And then I started going into the canoe because I wanted to get away from people.
Oh,
And
there you go.
the only way you can really do that is to do portages. And I got a really sore shoulder from carrying the kayak on portages, which I did do for a while. Like I said, I used whatever I could. I wanted to go, so I just went,
Well, the
and I
reason
just
I
changed.
mentioned that is because I mean, I know there are people out there that have partners that they camp, they go canoe camping with, and all of a sudden maybe they do break up. They get divorced or whatever they do. And they, like, well, guess I can't go now, right? But they can go now, can't they?
Well, I think I've hopefully inspired some of those people. Is that
There
what
you
you
go.
were leading up to? I get
Absolutely.
a lot of
Absolutely.
messages over the last 5 years. I started solo tripping in 2015, and I get a lot of messages from a lot of women.
Yeah.
70% of my followers are men on YouTube, but I get a lot of messages from a lot of women and a lot of men who they want to go by themselves. Their partner doesn't want to go, or their partner has
Right.
broken up with them, or their children are now grown up and they used to go when they were younger, but then they never, they didn't keep it up. And so now they kind of want to go, but they're a little bit scared. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they see me and they're like, oh, look at this 50-year-old chick. She's out there and she's killing it. And why can't I do it too? So,
Yeah. I mean, you got, and here's the thing. You're not 20, you're not some big burly man, like that. It's like you're proven, like going against you're going against all this stuff. I mean, good for you. I mean, you obviously are an inspiration to a lot of people, so
thank
that's
you.
very cool. Kudos to you. Let's jump to the online course. What motivated you to create the backcountry camping for beginners, the complete online course?
The backcountry, I don't know about over there, but especially the last 2 years, the backcountry is just a mess. There's so many people going out, they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're watching YouTube videos, people like me, people like Kevin Callan, or, whoever, and they're like, oh, that looks great. I'm going to go do that. And they basically call up an outfitter and they rent a canoe and they get in and they go, and they're leaving
Right.
garbage. They're attracting animals. They're, dying. Two people actually drowned last year. Several people drowned last year, but one specifically really touched me. And I don't want to see it anymore. And I want to do something. And because of COVID, most of the, courses that were running live were all canceled and people couldn't run them. And I thought, you know what, you're sitting at home. Why not jump online? You can do this course. The entire course is online. There's all kinds of quizzes. Every chapter has a quiz after it, multiple choice. They're really fun. And people can go through whenever they want. Once they purchase the course, it's theirs forever as long as it's up.
Yeah.
And they can learn everything from, how to start, how to pick a campsite, where you might want to go, what kind of gear you're going to need, right from beginning to end. My daughter is about to do the online course. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, hey, Mustang, how are you?
And Roxy, thank you for flashing that up here. You're going to pop that up again. This is what people are going to be seeing when they go to get in the show. We'll tell you how to get there, but this is what it looks like. Yep. So very cool. Let me ask you this, Christina. Have you noticed, just from what you mentioned a second ago, this is just something I noticed, and maybe you tell me if you disagree with me or not. I've noticed that there are a lot of beginners. Beginners don't typically, they do sometimes, but not typically go out and go, I'm going to learn how to do this or build a house, and they're going to jump online or whatever. Of course, there never used to be an online. They'd have to grab a book or something, but a lot of beginners just go out and do it. And I understand that. And then what happens is they get hurt or they become disgusted because, oh, this is hard and whatever, and I don't know what I'm doing. And then, of course, you've got the experts, and they don't, they're teaching things and they're not learning things. So it's really, to me, there are a portion of beginners, and then the bigger crowd might be what? The intermediate people. I mean, is that how that pretty much, is that something you've noticed or no?
Yeah, I think there's all kinds, and I have a hard time reaching these people, right? Like, I don't know how to find them.
That's my point.
That's the thing, right? Like, do I just go to like Algonquin and kind of stand around the access and watch for people who are getting on the wrong end of the canoe, or
right?
Like, how do you, it's really tough to say, hey, like, here's this, like, take a look. But some other people say, some people just don't want to learn. They don't care. They're going out and leaving garbage and whatever, and they're not going to take a course. So I don't know.
I guess where I'm going with that is, people, if you know somebody who is interested and they're going out and they don't know anything, really recommend them to subscribe to a course like the one you have or something, rather than do nothing, because you're going to be dangerous as hell when you go out there.
It's so important, and it's not even, it gives you so much confidence, and you're not only putting yourself in danger, you're putting everyone else in danger. I mean, there's bears, right? So you're going to go to a campsite in Algonquin and you're going to leave food out, and then I'm going to come along and camp there with my friends and their kids, and the bear's going to come because someone left food out before me, or they buried it, or so you're endangering not only yourself, you're endangering other people if someone has to come and rescue you. It's just, I don't think people really understand how much there is to learn and how much there is to know when you go out on a trip.
Yeah. I mean, there's a protocol to everything, really. I mean, most things in life, there is a protocol. And I mean, most people understand that. But there are those who just go out there and go, man, what's the big deal? Throw up a tent, put a fire, there's a little more to it.
Yeah,
Am
exactly.
I right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it could be serious consequences, right?
Oh, absolutely. So let me ask you this. What type of things do you cover in the course specifically?
Well, there's 120 videos. It's 5 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, I got this idea and I said, you know what, I'm home, there's COVID, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to talk about that, but why don't I do this? So I started, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew. Because like I said, there's so many things. In
chapters and things like that?
It's in sections. So like there's shelter, and then that would cover tents and tarps, and there's sleeping. So that would cover your thermarest or your sleeping mat or your foam pad or whatever, your sleeping bag, your pillow. There's chapters on gear, there's chapters on, and it's from start to finish. So, you would start off planning a trip, right? Where are you going to go? Why are you going to go there? If you need to rent something, you have to go somewhere near an outfitter. How are you going to pick a campsite, right? Is it going to be bad weather? Are you going to need shelter? Do you want to stay out of the sun? Is it going to be hot? Do you need something, shaded? Do you want something wide open because you want to be in the wind because it's bug season? There's so many different things. And then right through to, what kind of clothes you should wear.
I love it.
You want something dry wicking, right? If it's going to be cooler, you can't have that moisture on your skin because it'll make you cold. Rain gear, bug gear, how to stay away from the bugs, how to keep them off you. And it just goes on and on and on, right? There's just so many things. How to store your food, what kind of food to bring, how do you do your dishes? How do you cook out there? Yep. And, it covers everything from like barbecues to, bring a little hibachi. If you're new and you don't have the gear, go somewhere simple, just go in, do something easy, and different alternatives of how to save money and not have to buy all that stuff right at once.
I think I'm glad you mentioned dishes, because it's amazing. There are not many, because I did look, like, I wonder, what these people, I know how I do dishes, and it maybe isn't the same as what, we both do the same. I don't know. But I looked that up specifically, and there weren't many things on that subject. And it's like, it's great that you have included it. So if somebody came in there and said, well, you know what, I know about tents or whatever, but I don't know about this, they can actually just index to that section and watch. They can start right there. They don't have to sit through a whole. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and you
Very
can
well.
also watch it on the TV, depending on the system you have. So I've had like couples purchase it and then they watch it together or they watch it with their kids.
Nice.
I had a single dad who he has a son and a daughter and he wants to take them out. So he bought the course and every night they watch an hour of it, and learn, right? And that
Great.
way they're teaching each other and helping each other to kind of get through it. And it's
That's a
really cool.
very cool thing. Very cool. So
Mhm.
how much does the course cost actually?
It's $59.99, but it's through an
Very
app
affordable.
called Udemy, and they put the course online. They put the course on sale a lot of times, so it can go down to like $9.99 sometimes if you catch it at a good time. And it's pretty much a steal. I mean, there's 5 hours of videos, so it's quite a lot, and
Yeah.
you have it forever. So.
Is there a sequel? Is there another video in the works or anything, or what's going on? Any of that?
Yeah, possibly. I've been kind of contemplating if I'm going to do a winter course. I
Mhm.
have been thinking about it. I don't do a lot of winter, like car camping, what they call it.
Okay.
I do mostly backcountry.
Mhm.
But I think I could be able to throw something together for winter. I have been thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Now, when you say winter camping and car camping, does this involve does your car camping also involve hot tents?
Yes,
Okay.
I have actually created three of my very own
Mhm.
DIY hot
Yeah.
tents. First one I made very early on in 2015, 2016, I believe it
Mhm.
was a teepee hot tent and it has 9 steel poles. It's very heavy. And
Oh
so
wow.
I attempted to take it out on a backcountry trip with a friend and I kind of strapped it to my waist. I had my toboggan and put the little strap on and I
Yeah.
just kind of did a Titanic. Didn't even move. It was 101 pounds for the tent, the stove, just the tent and the stove and the poles, without my gear.
Oh wow.
So the next year I went back to the drawing board and I made an 8.5 by 8.5 pyramid style solo tent. It weighs 15 pounds. The stove weighs 18 pounds.
Okay.
So it's 33 or something like that, the whole thing together, with the stove and the tent. Has one pole, a painter's pole in the middle, and it's
Nice.
fantastic for soloing. But then I was going with friends and it wasn't really enough room. So 2 years ago, I made a big tent for friends to go winter camping. It's 10 by 13 and they're all made out of painter's drop cloth. I have on the last two tents I made, I have three-part video series on how I made the tent.
That's cool.
Lots of people have actually made similar tents and have sent me pictures and
Wow.
stuff like that from my videos. So it's really neat to see how people kind of take what I've shown them and then changed it into their own kind of style of tent
That's
or
interesting. Yeah.
added what they liked and made a variation of it. So it's really
Yeah.
neat to see.
That's very cool. And you show them actually how you made your tents
Yeah,
actually. So
from start to finish, it's painter's drop cloth from Home Depot. I show pyramid style is easy. It's 4 triangles. You sew them
right.
together.
Right.
Yeah, everything from, the thread where I got the zipper from.
Do you
You know,
waterproof them and show them how you
yeah, that's actually the most expensive part of it. Like the tent
okay.
itself, I think came to like $229, and then the
Yeah.
waterproofing was like almost the same amount. The
What is it like?
waterproofing and the fireproofing.
It's we used to on canvas. We used to use this. Was it snow? What was that snow coat or snow something? It came in a
Uh,
can, and it was stuff you actually brush on the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
canvas. Yeah.
I use a product by Woods Canada. It's just a canvas treating
Okay.
waterproofing spray. It comes in a
Yeah.
can and it's like 20 bucks a can. And I think 5 of them did the solo tent. So,
Okay.
and then there's fireproofing, right? So,
Yeah.
you have to be safe. Everybody's concerned that I'm going to set myself on fire or get carbon monoxide
Absolutely.
poisoning while I'm out. So, oh,
Well,
thank you, Donald.
let's read some messages here real quick, and then we're going
Oh,
to take a break. First, we got Connie Waits says hello.
hi,
Donald G.
Connie.
Kelly. Good evening to everyone. Bushman 613. Good day, good day. I hope I said that right. Good evening, everyone, from Mustang 774. Brandy Hartman She loves your shirt, man, and I do too. Absolutely.
I love it too.
Mustang 774. Awesome story behind your journey to the solo adventurer you are now. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And he also chimed in, my daughter is about to do the online course. I got it for her birthday. Randy
Nice.
Hartman. And let's see, I lost where I was at here. Yes, it's a course anyone can learn something from. You don't have to be a newbie, and that, yeah, absolutely. There's always something to learn.
I had that debate with Dennis as well from Canoe Hound. I gave him a pass to see it, and he was like, "Oh," he goes, "there were like 5 or 6 things that I learned, like, and I've been doing this forever. Like, he's been backcountry camping longer than me." And I'm like, "Okay, well." But I like to market it to new people.
Yeah, you can learn something from everyone, and
exactly, yeah,
absolutely. Let's see here. Just kind of the course. Although I'm an experienced camper, we can always learn something new. Just what we were just saying. Looking forward to completing the course. And my computer's doing weird things to me here. Cool tank, and that was from a cool listener here.
Hey, Johnny and Colleen. Hi guys.
Yeah. We should learn something new every day. Connie, it's only $60 for the whole course. Yeah, 59. Would you say 59.95 or
$59.99?
99.
I think that's American too. So, or
yeah,
no, it's Canadian, so it's less American.
Oh wow, okay.
Because your money's worth like 10 times as much as ours.
Right. So. I remember that one as a kid. Like, everything is like, $1 in the U.S., $5 in Canada. I go, wow, those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so it's even less in the U.S. It's very, very cool.
Very cool. I think it comes to 48 something.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rootabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
And we're back with our guest camper, Christina, here on The Camping Show. Hey, Roxy, let's put some photos up there, and we'll have Christina tell us a little bit about each one of them if we can. All right.
Oh, this is a rare backpacking trip in the winter. It's cold camping as well, so I don't do that often. But you have to
everything on that pack, in that your tent and everything in that pack.
Yeah. I just have like a summer tent that I use, and
okay,
it's in there. All my stuff is in there. My food is just like a 1 or 2 night trip in the Halliburton Highland Water Trails.
Okay.
It wasn't snowy enough to bring the toboggan. Oh, this is Temagami, my favorite place in the world. I think I've been doing some really challenging remote trips there, and this is one of them, the Twinkle Lake Loop. Really, really great adventure. Really hard trip.
Yeah, I see. Okay, look, I'm looking at this tree down here.
Yeah, that's the portage.
Yeah, right. How do you? What do you throw the canoe over the top and then crawl into the log? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I
Yeah.
put the front of the canoe on the log there and crawled underneath and then pulled it over the other side. And then, as you can see, I lifted my leg real high and
I
got
gotta
over
say,
that.
I've never had one that was about that height where I had to think about doing something like that. So yeah, it's interesting. You just slide her down the log or slide it over the log and then
Yeah,
climb
and
in.
it was something like a small 200-meter or something. I don't know what that is, and I think you guys use rods. But I mean, a teeny tiny portage. But it took me, you know, half an hour to get through it because there
Yeah.
were all these down trees everywhere.
Yeah, lots of obstacles.
You can't
Definitely.
underestimate the terrain ever.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, another favorite place of mine. This is Temagami as well. This is from my waterfalls trip that I did last year,
Oh.
and I just got back from doing those again. In
Oh, that's the same
addition
place you were
to,
just
yeah, yeah. I there's a north channel and a south channel of the Lady Evelyn River in Temagami, and I started at the very, very top of the river and went all the way down. And so this year I went back to do the north channel, which has some challenging portages as well. I think I sent you a picture of one of them. It was like a rock wall,
Yeah.
and yeah. So that's the portage.
Wow.
That's Cabin Falls.
Nice.
Yeah, and same. This is on the way to the waterfalls last year. Same type of a thing, and somehow I don't know why, but I always step on the rock that moves, and it
Yeah.
happens to me every time.
I'm just looking. Is there a path that you're on or you negotiating over all these rocks?
I'm negotiating over all the rocks. There are many portages around and through. Some of them, this is the axis, so you have to kind of crawl over these to get to the portage.
Yeah.
But this one, the portage was actually missing, and I found out after that this was the portage. 50-meter portage took me, oh my God, 45 minutes to do it. It was ridiculous. I stopped after this because my legs were shaking.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. I mean, it just looks like some rocks, but they're slippery, they're wet, they have moss on them, and
And they move.
I'm out there by myself, so
Yeah.
there's nobody around. There's no cell service. There's nothing. I do have an emergency device, but if I slip and hurt myself, I'm in trouble. So I have
Yeah.
to be really, really careful.
You are in trouble. And like you just mentioned, and the rocks move, and that's a good way to get hurt, big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. There you go. Back to the
Yeah. This is just the marketing photo for my course. Which
yeah.
I took in behind my house. I live in Muskoka now. I moved here 5 years ago to be closer to the places that I love. I sold my house and put my stuff in storage and found a job online up here, and I just moved, said goodbye to
Did you
everyone, and moved.
you just really moved for that purpose?
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
That's
So
cool.
now I drive 3 hours to see my mom, and then I drive, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to go on adventures instead of 4,
Wow.
5, 6, 7 hours.
I would say that's dedication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I couldn't stand the drive through Toronto. This is in the Halliburton Highland Water Trails, just like a what I call a leisure trip. I do some hard trips, and then in between, I do some trips where I just go and make really great food. I have a channel on my YouTube, which is called Camper Christina Cooks,
Wow.
where I show all different kinds of foods that I make out there. And this is one of those trips where I've just kind of come to rest. I believe it was right after the waterfalls trip, this one, actually.
Okay.
I was tired and bruised.
What kind of canoe are we looking at here in the back? And it's the same one in this picture too.
Yeah, yeah. This is the canoe that I'm currently using. I'm sponsored by H2O Canoe Company. Jeff Hill is the owner, and this is the H2O ProLite 14.6. So it's approximately 15 feet. It weighs 30 pounds.
Nice.
And this one is actually Kevlar. The one I used 2 years before. I've had this year and last year because of, again, the thing that's going on in the world. We didn't get to switch, but the year before I had one that was made of Vinegra basalt, which is a very tough material that H2O uses, and but fairly similar. And that's made in Camper Christina green, just for me, apparently.
I like that. I was just going to say, I like that green. And look
Yeah.
at the PFD matches the canoe. How cool is that?
Yeah, and that was made for me by Salis Marine, and they actually logoed that for me as well, the PFD. So
Very cool.
I'm a huge advocate of safety. I want to make sure people are always being safe out there, and I always wear my PFD. This is that first picture where I was going over the log jams. This is that same trip. It's called the Twinkle Lake. I called it the Twinkle Lake Loop. It's a very remote area in Temagami, and that was my waterway. During bug season, about 30 degrees Celsius, very, very hot, humid, as you can see, and supposed to be a 900-meter portage, but it was a 1.5-hour slog through these alder bushes, this little creek, and it was pretty challenging. It was a tough day.
Yeah, you've done some rough portages. I mean,
I really enjoy the challenge. I'm prepared for them. I know people are always worried about me. I've worked my way up. I didn't just go out one day and start doing these crazy trips. As I mentioned to you, I went out on a solo trip for, one night, and then I kind of grew from there, and then the challenges got bigger and bigger, and I just really love going to these places where no one is and getting through these places and making my way out the other end in one piece, sometimes covered in lots of bruises, but
I'm sure. How could you not do it?
It's part of it. And I give myself a lot of time, and I do a lot of research, and I just love doing it. I love it.
Now, do you do this? You do this full time? I mean, you do this year round? I mean, full time, right?
I do. I backcountry camp year round. I average about a trip every 2 weeks, year round, depending on what month it is. In August I camp a little bit more. I like summer in September and October, and winter I do a mix of hot tenting, car camping, and going in the backcountry with the solo hot tent and going with friends. So, yeah.
Interesting. We had another picture. There we go. Yeah, there's a picture.
Yeah, that's the big one that I made, the newest one that I made in 2019. It's a 10 by 13. It's also made out of painter's drop cloth. And there's a 3-part series on my YouTube of how I made it. And if you want to make one, you can give it a shot. It's also got the Camper Christina green on it.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you got that going on. Is that a logo that I'm seeing on the front there?
It is the logo that you're seeing on the front.
That? Look at that. And there are those little windows, those little triangle things up on top there?
There are windows. Nice. It's the first, most tents, as you know, don't have windows. And it was something I really wanted to try. And so on this tent, there's actually really big ones. I don't know if I sent you any other pictures of that one, but there's a big window on both sides, on either side. And then on the back panel, there's a giant triangle window. It's 30 gauge clear vinyl. And, I've actually added a window to that tent as well now because I loved it so much. It's great to sit in the hot tent in your tank top and sweat while you're looking out at the snow and watching animals walk around.
Was just thinking about that. Yeah, you'll see the bears when they come in camp.
Yeah, exactly. And the footprints and stuff. Well, bears hibernate in the winter, but CW,
well, this
is
that. Yeah, except the really mean, hungry ones, right?
Yeah.
Let me go backwards here for a second here. Okay, so this. The hot pipe comes out the side. It doesn't really go up, but it comes out the side, and it's supported by bracket. Looks like there.
It's just 2 old tent poles that I had, and there's just a piece of wire in between them, and I just hammer them into the snow, and then it just kind of holds it up there. Yeah. If you put it straight up, a lot of people say that this affects the draft and the pull. I don't ever have any issues with that. I have like a bent elbow pipe, I guess, that I put on the end if it's raining or snowing. To kind of keep that out, but I don't really have too many problems with the wind or the draft. And if it goes straight up, the embers can end up on your tent. Yeah. So I like it out. If you can actually see in the picture there on the right, there's a little bit of soot and stuff in the snow there. And that's what ends up on your tent, and then that's how you start, catch on fire. So.
And it looks like there is an elbow on the end there, if I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think actually there is one. As I was saying it, I'm like, I think there is one because that was as you can see, I'm only wearing a sweatshirt. I'm actually on a trip here in Algonquin with John Van Berriger, who is the outdoor kind. And he came to Algonquin. He's from the States. He lives in Wisconsin. And I went on a trip with him to kind of show him my hot tent, and he was cold tenting, but I think I converted him at some point during that trip.
Yeah, that is so cool.
And there's a logo on that one too.
Yeah, I like it. That's cool. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
like to brand everything.
Yeah,
So this is
please.
a really tough trip that I did in Killarney. Only about maybe 3 kilometers in, but that 3 kilometers in the snow by yourself, and there's big hills that you have to pull all your gear up. It weighs quite a bit.
Yeah.
And this weekend, this weekend that I was there, it was, I think they sent you another picture with my hair frozen. That's from this trip. It was minus 40, I believe, with the wind chill this weekend, Celsius.
Yeah.
So very, very cold. I think when you get to minus 40, it's almost the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Yeah, that's the trip.
Okay.
So very, very cold. I mean, and you have to get there and set up your tent, make sure your fingers work to just set the tent up in the first place,
Yeah.
and get the stove set up and get the firewood to heat the tent before you can kind of warm up. So it's very challenging, even just going in a few kilometers. And cold camping. That was before I made the hot tents. Yeah, that's in the Halliburton Highland Water Trails, and I'm cold camping here. I think this was my very first cold camping trip. I don't like the cold at all. I hate it. I'm not a fan of it. I like snow, and in Niagara we used to get snow a little bit, but it wasn't enough to play in. Which is another reason I moved to Muskoka, because we get a lot of snow here, and you can actually, it's one thing for winter, you're cold, but if you have something to do like snowshoe or ski or, then it makes it better. Right. And so I figured if I'm going to be cold, I might as well have something to play in. So
Absolutely.
yeah. This is from the Outdoor Adventure Show. I've spoken there the last 3 years. I guess 4 if you count virtually, but I love presenting. I really enjoy it. I love watching the people react to my videos. That's something I don't ever get to see. People comment on YouTube, but you don't actually get to see their faces and stuff. So it's really great to be able to do that live and in person. And I've certainly missed that over the last year.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I bet you did. There's
Tamagami.
yeah.
So
is that
that's
the one where you spotted the lynx? Was that same trip?
No, this is one of my first. You can see I've got my old PFD here from Salis. This is one of my first. I think it's the second big trip I did in Tamagami, going through Wolf Lake. It's a very popular area. It's very busy there now. And there's actually a big campaign to save Wolf Lake because they're fighting against logging and drilling and mining and things like that right now.
Yeah.
So, but this is the H2O that I first started paddling for Jeff. And this one weighs 30 pounds as well, but it's made of the Niagara basalt. And really great canoe. I love paddling it. And I actually, it got sold when I returned it. And I found out that someone who follows my channel bought it. It was a 60-year-old woman who moved. She did the same thing I did, but later in life.
Okay.
She decided to leave the city and she wanted to start a new life up north. She's always wanted to live up north. And she purchased this canoe used, and really great story behind that. I really love that. And she contacted me to tell me about it, which just made my day.
Absolutely cool. Absolutely cool.
And kayaking, yeah. I have 2 kayaks as well. I actually own the kayaks. I have a Delta 15X, which is pictured there. I love my Delta. And I also have a Perception Tribute, which is the first vessel that I ever purchased. That's what I did a lot of my earlier trips with, was the Perception, and it doesn't hold a lot of gear, so it was tough to get everything with me. I had stuff strapped to the top and all over, but I love kayaking. I really do, and that's part of why I use a double blade in the canoe. But it also it gives me a lot of control and stuff like that. So I have most of my training in kayaking as well. I do have canoe certifications, but most of my training is kayaking. And that's just a happy camper right there. I'm at the Massasauga. I'm about 20 minutes from where I live now. Just doing some day paddling. This is last year when we weren't allowed to camp. So I did a day trip going through all the campsites at the Massasauga and showing people what they looked like.
That's very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, let me ask you. I get a couple of quick questions for you here, and we're winding down in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
First of all, real briefly, what would you say is the toughest part about being an influencer?
Trying not to let negative things get to you. It's very difficult. I will get like 100 people saying lovely things to me, and then that one person will be like,
there's always someone, isn't
it? There's always someone. And, every single video this year, I get 2 thumbs down. And it's somebody who subscribes to my channel, because I don't actually publish my videos till the day after. Oh, I'm supposed to open a video tonight. Okay. I just remembered that. So I open the videos on Wednesday night. And so anybody who subscribes to my channel, they get a notification. You know how it works. They get an email saying, here's the video, it's up. And in the morning I get up and I have 2 of these, and I'm like, what kind of life do you need to live to, like, why? Like, how do you, I don't even understand. I put so much work into this, and, like, there's lots of TV shows I hate. I just don't watch them. I don't email them and say, hey, I hate your show, it sucks. Like, I don't really get, I think it's, they're behind the screen, they're safe, they're protected. You don't know who they are. And,
and there's a difference between somebody's, because I just had somebody post something the other day on this video that I had, how to rescue or whatever, self-rescue or canoe. And I don't mind questions where they kind of question, hey, I don't think that, and that's fine, but when you're all out negative, giving the thumbs down, I feel like slapping them. Come on, really?
Yeah, but it still hurts, right? Like, it's still, to this day, it still bothers me.
It's a little offensive. I was raised that if you got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all.
Exactly. Me too. I'm from that school as well. I don't know. I don't get it, but I've learned to kind of get over it. For every, like I said, for every one of these, I'm getting 50 of these.
Yeah, that's a good rate.
And I just have to, I'll get an email like, I have a couple of little girls who follow me, and their parents have sent me emails and messages, and I've sent them stickers and stuff, and stuff like that just warms my heart. Like, these places we love, they need to be protected. And in order for that to happen, those young people that are starting to grow up now, they need to love these places too, or they're just going to disappear.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a huge thing for me to inspire those little ones to kind of get out and love the earth and love the trees as much as I do, so that they'll still be here when their kids are around.
Absolutely true. Well, we're running out of time here, so we're going to real quickly have you tell viewers and listeners where they can go to follow you on social media and where they can go to download the amazing video course that you've created, Christina.
Camperchristina.com is the easiest way to find me. Yep, that's exactly it there. There's tabs at the top. So the course is there. My YouTube channel is there. My Facebook is there. And if you're looking to get in touch with me for any reason, there's all kinds of places to do that as well. Or you can email me at camperchristina@outlook.com. And I love hearing from people and helping people if I can. And it's great to just chit chat with other people who love the outdoors as much as I do.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Christina, thank you for being my guest here on the Camping Show. It was a pleasure having you here this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been a great honor to be on your show. I'm a big fan, and I was really excited when you asked me to come on. So thank you for having me.
Very welcome. Appreciate that. Thank you for your kind words.
And thanks for the.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, the tank. Oh, absolutely.
And thanks for the tank.
Thanks for promoting it. Thanks for wearing it on the show. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. So, well, again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Campground Views and Rutabaga Paddle Sports, for bringing you tonight's show. Now, real quick announcement here. Next week's show will not be broadcast at its normal time, but rather at a special day and time on Friday, August 20th at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time in the United States. My special guest for that episode will be one rated whitewater kayaker in the world, the legendary Dane Jackson. So I hope you'll all tune in for that live broadcast. Until then, thank you for tuning into the Camping Show. This is CW Getz reminding you, learn more, do more. See you next week.
Bye.